Thank you, Tom. Thank the whip and the conference chair and Ken Calvert for all his hard work. Let me address some of the big issues that I know are on everybody's mind this morning. This Sunday, the Senate was supposed to release a supplemental funding bill that we've been waiting on for a couple of months now, and it was supposed to have a border security set of provisions in it. That is not what we got. We got a supplemental funding proposal with immigration provisions. It's not a border security bill. It doesn't do anything of the sort. In fact, in our view, after a careful, thoughtful review of this, we believe that if those provisions were to make law, it might actually make the situation worse. Let me give you a couple citations. There's just a few of our countless concerns with the bill and the form that it was sent to us. On page 321, for example, the bill expands work authorizations for illegal aliens, threatens American workers' wages, and also acts as another magnet for illegal immigration. It's a pull factor. You don't want to tell people around the world to come on in over the border. We'll give you work, and by the way, we'll put most of you on public assistance so that the American taxpayer can spend billions and billions and billions of dollars to feed, house, and clothe and educate you. That's not the message that is helpful to send around the world. On page 116 of the bill, it endorses the Biden administration's catch and release policy, endorses it by allowing illegals to be, quote, released from physical custody, unquote. Instead of deciding, asylum on a case-by-case basis, as the law specifically states currently, what they would do is just engage in more of these large-scale releases. The shutdown authority in the bill, you've heard some things said about that, but it's riddled with loopholes. You might not have heard that part. It gives Secretary Mayorkas, who is, of course, one of the chief architects of the catastrophe that we're all dealing with, the authority to undermine that. You can find that on pages 218 and 219 of the bill. Of course, this administration has shown the American people that it will exploit any measure to keep the border open. And the lead Democrat negotiator of this bill made clear to everybody, under this bill, quote, the border never closes. That's what he said, Senator Murphy. In sum, the bill does not secure the border, and it does not prevent illegals from coming into our country. And I don't want to belabor the point every day and repeat the statistics over and over and over, but you all know it well. We've had over 7 million encounters at the border since President Biden took office. We've got over 2 million known gotaways. We've got over 300 people who are suspects on the terrorism watch list. They're all in the country. But the scary thing is we don't know who is in the country who came in completely undetected. We don't know how many people snuck over that border, but we know it's a large, large number. And among that number, we don't know how many of them have ill design for our country. How many of them actually are terrorists or want to be terrorists? We don't know how many terrorism cells are set up around the country. We do know that fentanyl is the leading cause of death for Americans age 18 to 49 because it's pouring over the border like an open sewer, as they say all the time. We do know that human trafficking is a scourge that is benefiting the cartels, which are international violent criminal enterprises. They're making billions of dollars bringing people into our country because the administration allows it to happen. We know all the problems. We know that the communities are being overwhelmed and flooded, from deep blue cities to rural communities. Every state's a border state. All these things are happening. And the same administration that has refused to enforce our current border laws is rolling out to illegal immigrants this welcome mat, saying, come on in. Everybody can see what's happening here. Nothing less than American sovereignty is at stake. Our nation's sovereignty is what is at stake. This transcends politics. It transcends your political party. Everybody should understand that this is a fundamental responsibility of the federal government to secure the border. If you don't have a secure border, you don't have safety, you don't have security, and you don't have sovereignty. And the Republicans simply cannot vote for the bill in good conscience. And that is why I declared it dead on arrival, and it looks like right now it may be in some jeopardy. It may be on life support in the Senate. We welcome that development because this is a matter that must be addressed in a manner that actually solves the problem. We have been urging from day one, literally the day that I took the gavel in late October, I've been urging the Senate, urging the White House to consider the provisions of H.R. 2. Why? Because our Secure the Border Act has the necessary components to solve the problem. We restore Remain in Mexico, we end catch and release, we reform the asylum broken system, the broken parole process and policy this administration has been pursuing, and we built wall. Those things are necessary to solve the problem, and everybody knows it. It's not Republican talking points. It's the objective fact. We took 64 House Republicans down to the border in January 3rd. I know I sound like a broken record, but, the White House doesn't get it. The people in charge in the Senate don't get it. Chuck Schumer doesn't understand it or care. But what we saw with our own 2 eyes, I don't know when Chuck Schumer went to the border last. I'm not sure he's ever been. But I can tell you what we saw, an absolute humanitarian catastrophe. Broke our hearts and infuriated us at the same time. It cannot continue. And the people on the border who are charged with enforcing it are the ones who told us that those are the necessary components to fix it.